Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon or morning, whenever you're catching up with us, of another episode of The Sweet Dose. I have Nicole White here with me today. If some of you guys recall, we chatted last MS Awareness Month last year. And so this year, I'm following up with quite a few of those ladies and seeing where they are as far as their MS journey and just in life. So welcome, Nicole. I'm going to go ahead and throw the floor over to you, and you can kind of talk about what's changed over the last year and anything that you feel is pertinent for people to know and be aware of during MS Awareness Month. So go ahead, Nicole.
So thanks for having me back, Mia. It's a pleasure to be here on your platform sharing my MS journey. Last year we spoke, I was in the transition phase of leaving my career. My family and I made the choice to go ahead and transition out because the work was just really, really stressful. And so I decided to do a couple things differently. And I think the most important thing is I've learned that holding on to the pictures that I have for my life and holding on to a career that I thought was my identity just was the wrong thing. And the moment I let it go, it sounds really, really cliche,
Because you got peace.
but oh my goodness, you look at people and you're just like, oh, come on, you're being dramatic. It's not that serious about. No, really, it is. It was. I now say that MS didn't happen to me before me. And I view my life in a much more positive, productive, reflective way, affirmative way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, MS has taken away a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to readjust and set my mind differently about how I approach the world. There's still tons of things that I'm learning and that piss me off and that causes me some emotions. I have some down moments, but I'm now understanding how my life can still be so good. And I'm so blessed. And I'm really, really happy that I'm able to see now
Got clarity.
life with it. I'm able to see a life with it instead of not having a life because of it. So.
Right. Right. No, and that's awesome. For me, I find, and I tell people, for me, the one thing I think that really helps to get me through is to keep a positive mindset. Despite the everyday, several times a day, being in agonizing pain, the alternative is I could be in the ground, right? So I definitely understand where you're coming from. It's definitely, for this past year, has been a growth opportunity for myself, or some of the things that you mentioned. I also too, I tell people, I'm like, I hate MS. Don't get me wrong, I hate it. But the
Mhm.
one thing it's brought me in life is a lot of clarity, and it's allowed me to offer other people grace that I necessarily never, before I've had a low tolerance to a lot of things. But it's changed that for me, and it's made me realize, everybody is not the same. People are different. And because people necessarily don't make the same choices that I make in the way in which I make them, it doesn't make them wrong. So,
It's interesting that you say that about grace because one of the things that I'm learning to do first before, because I had a habit of extending myself to other people more than I extended myself to myself.
mhm.
And so I'm learning to extend grace to me.
Yeah.
And this standard as to which I lived my life of stress induced uh overextending,
Mhm.
not listening to my body. MS is like, oh, you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to make sure that you listen to me.
Yeah,
MS has a way of saying, yeah, no, no, sit down right now.
right.
So
Like,
that, yeah, that grace that I have to extend myself, I have to, remind myself that it's okay. It's you're giving your best, and that's if your best is, you have to be in the bed today, or you have to say no to some things, and it's okay to do that, right? And so I just was never in a space where I extended grace to myself,
Right.
and I was empathetic to the things that I needed and understanding. Well, no, you really don't need to rest, Nicole. Like, get up and do it anyway.
Mhm.
No, I have to listen to myself, and
Right.
honoring my own body and the way I need to navigate the world brings me a great sense of peace.
Right.
Now, I still got to figure out this diet thing and eating the right stuff. Everyone that's watching, listen, this food thing has in me a chokehold. Okay, you talk about a stronghold. I'm still figuring it out, but yeah, I'm learning to lean into and honor myself in much better ways that I never would have done, and if I hadn't, um, if I wasn't living with MS.
Right. Right. And I tell people that it's I'm going to be 43 in April, and I haven't been so much aware of the being that I am right now in this present time in life than I ever have. Right. Like I used to, like my job and, my social circle of friends and how much money I made and the cars I drove. Like those are the things before that I really put more value on than what needed to be there. And so now I'm realizing I still love nice things. Everybody, don't get me twisted. Don't get it twisted. I still like nice things. But my identity and my self-worth doesn't lie in what I have. I what I value now more than anything are relationships, because at any given moment, the people you love or yourself, you could check out of this world and you could be gone. And I tell people, I say, if it's the last thing that you said to that person, would you be okay with
Well,
that being the last thing that you said to them?
mm,
And so I try and be mindful of that now in my interactions with people, even despite those that might be disappointing me at the present moment. I
mhm,
still have a responsibility in how I respond, and I try not to respond out of a place of anger anymore. I try and respond out of a place of, you know, uh, from my mindset and from my heart.
mhm.
I try and give people a little bit more grace. So,
It's interesting because I'm having this internal debate, and I don't really know if it's packaged well enough and how people are going to receive it, because I don't think that MS is a punishment, right? So let me just say that out the gate. It's not a punishment, and you don't do anything to get MS.
mhm.
But the thing that I'm trying to process and try to figure out, I get angry. Mm, so I'm having layers upon layers of additional medical things that are always ever present. And it's
Yeah.
always like, testing showed this. Okay, you have to go do this and do this extra test, and okay, you might have this. Okay, well, you don't have it, but you might still have it. Come back in 3 months. Oh, but you don't have it. And like this, it's
Mhm.
this cycle. And every time that I get in a place where I'm like, okay, this is what we have to deal with. This is what we have to do. Something else comes on the plate, and
Right.
I'm just I get so upset with myself because I feel like I've treated my body like crap for my entire life. I will be 47 in October.
Okay.
And now that I need my body to be resilient and be in a space where we're able to fight off some of these things that are natural things,
Mhm.
my body's like, I'm tired. You didn't prepare us for this. You didn't
Right.
prepare us for this fight, and things like just exercising and putting the right foods in my body, and just the way that I just ran it down. It's like a car that I just literally ran to the ground, didn't do the oil changes, didn't do the things necessary to keep up with the wear and tear. And I'm like, body, I want us to get another 50 years out of this thing. And my
Right.
body's like, well, you didn't treat me like you. And I'm trying to learn how to repair that really, really quickly. And it's a struggle. It's a serious struggle.
Do you follow Jocelyn?
No.
I'm gonna send you her information. She also has MS. I interviewed her last year. I'll be interviewing her again, but she's had MS, I want to say for like 10 years, maybe. It's been a while. But
Mhm.
in the beginning, she didn't, she ate what she wanted. She just kind of went about life with MS as if, okay, now I know I'm diagnosed, I know what's
Mhm.
wrong. But she didn't really make any changes to her life. And I want to say during maybe it was before COVID. Anyway, long story short, she changed her whole way of eating. She juices a lot.
Oh, wow.
She only eats fish or
Oh,
like
wow.
seafood and vegetables and trust me, because I like to eat too. So some of that shit just ain't gonna work with, to have. It's not gonna work for me. But you can make little small
I
changes
know.
there that would help.
I
That
know it makes sense. I have no argument for that, but that is the one area that my family that'll watch this will be like, maybe this is it. I am working on it, people. Like I promise you, it seems so easy and it seems so just get it done, Nicole. But I'm really dramatic and I'm having a tough time making that shift. But I really do need my body to meet the challenges that are ahead for us.
right.
And I now realize like, oh my goodness, I this has been 30 years of just mess that I just anyway, that's one of the barriers that I still have that keeps me on this ebb and flow of, emotions. Because I know that if I would have made better choices earlier on, I would be able to attack it a lot better and a lot with a lot more efficiency. But it doesn't matter. We're here now, and I need to get over it and get going with it. But that's one of the areas that eating and working out thing, I definitely have to figure out how to turn that thing around.
Do you have a good support system at home that can kind of go along with the journey with you to start working out and eating healthy?
People are waiting on me. It's-
Well,
they,
Nicole, get it together then.
I know. Listen, I am working on it. I don't know. It's mental, and I hope next year when we talk that I'm able to say, "Girl, I have made it over." But I'm working on it. I don't.
Sorry, I'm having I told you I've been having debilitating spasms.
I'm
And
sorry. Take your
so
time.
I'm having to adjust my chair. That's why you see me like fidgeting over here. I'm trying to adjust my chair to get comfortable. So I
Take
apologize.
your time. No worries.
Um, but yeah, my spasms have been whew, debilitating, like horrible. I can't, I told you I'm not walking right now. I'm in a wheelchair, but I've been working with a pain specialist
Mm-hmm.
within the past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. How's
Um,
it going?
it's going pretty good. I think so. We're gonna try a nerve block first
Mm-hmm.
in my like in the space of my L4 and my L5, because it looks like I have a slip disc that's sitting on the L5 nerve root, and that's the one that impacts your sciatica. So I literally have pain from my lower back to my foot, and these spasms just they won't let up, and they just, I mean, it's been tough. It's been, and I've
That's the thing. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mia. I'm
no, it's
sorry.
been tough, and I've had my moments where I'm just like, enough is enough. Like I can't, like this pain. So they're talking about, have you heard of a spinal stimulator?
Yes.
Okay, you have heard of that. So the doctor is thinking once they get my spasticity under control, that they will put in a spinal stimulator to help me with a lot of the pain. So
Yeah, I know someone that had that. So when you get ready to do your research about it, I can connect you with someone that had it. That, um, I after the initial shock and the initial process of it, she's gotten pretty used to it. So definitely I know someone that has had that for a different reason, but nevertheless it was that procedure. So I can
right.
definitely put you in contact with someone that has experienced that.
Oh, that'll be awesome. That
Mm.
will be awesome. Anything I can do. not to be in
Feel like
pain.
this. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the one benefit. I'm gonna raise up my desk. The one benefit to being in a chair is that my chair is almost my legs now. And
Mhm.
so, when I'm uncomfortable or having these spasms, I'm able to adjust myself in my position in the chair to kind of ease it and help the spasms go down. So, but it's those little moments like right now where we're recording and I don't have like a lot of alternatives to
Right.
go into those positions where I just kind of have to deal for the half an hour or 45 minutes that we sit here and we catch up. So,
I think that's important though, because one of the misconceptions is that um, MS looks a certain way. And I hope one of the takeaways from all of these things that happen during MS Awareness Month and the things that happen throughout the year, that people can see that everyone is different and it impacts us differently in different ways at different times for different length of times.
right,
And the to not be able to put in or to insert your assumptions onto what someone MS is or how they're experiencing MS is vital, right? And so the empathy for I very much appreciate your transparency, your vulnerability for being able to talk it through and explain to the viewers what's happening, because it's important, and it's important that we have a realistic view of how it is different for everyone, and it mentally is different for everyone.
right.
Even if both of us were in a wheelchair, we still would be experiencing two different things, right? And so I just really think that it's really important for people to see as much of MS as possible. So I appreciate your vulnerability for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, the transparency part initially was to kind of keep people updated so I didn't have to keep explaining how I was feeling. Um, and I found that just kind of putting everything out there and just being open as possible,
Yeah, that's
with
right.
people on my social media of how I'm feeling, because, there's days and weeks where I just won't contact a person back or reach back out to them. And they're like, well, I wanted to talk to you. I had to, that was my way of dealing with keeping people informed without having to have the conversation over and over and over and over again. Right. So, and I feel like this disease is something that's in our community that isn't well aware. The people aren't well aware of it unless they know somebody that has it or they have it themselves. I don't even really think if you know somebody that has it, you really can empathize. You have to have it yourself to really understand the day-to-day struggles that we go through. And
Mm-hmm.
and because of those day-to-day struggles is why I had to go out on a medical retirement where I can't work anymore. It's just, my pain is, people go on vacation to get away from their problems and life and to recharge. For me and for you and for all other MS warriors, we never get a vacation. You have MS and you have MS every day of
Mm-hmm.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn how to, figure out what works best for you and do those things.
I think that's a great point, because one of the things that upsets me quite a bit is that, and I'm going to use some terms loosely, and I hope I'm not offending, but able-minded people, meaning people that don't require accommodations and just different things to be able to access the world. That's a very privileged way to live.
Right.
And I find the more I'm trying to, because I was first in that whole, well, my life is over. I'm going to be in the house. And so last year I started traveling more and getting out and trying to experience life
Mm,
with MS. And it's hard. The
Yeah,
world doesn't always meet you there. And
well,
it's frustrating. Go ahead, Mia.
no,
Mhm.
no, no. I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with you. And also just the fact that, that we had this conversation before we started recording, but there's a lot of places that are not disability friendly. They're just not. And I'm hopeful that I'll get to where you're at, because right now where I am, I rather be in the house because that's where I'm comfortable. I have
And
all the
safe, beautiful, safe.
Yeah, and it's a place where all the resources I need to feel better, they're all here.
Mhm.
Like I had a whole bunch of doctor's appointments last week, and we went into Atlanta because I'm about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta, north of Atlanta. And it was difficult for me. It's Sunday and my body is still feeling the effects of all the doctor's appointments I had. And we actually went out to eat and went to Papados. I've never eaten there before. So my uncle's like, well, on the way back, let's get some. I was like, yeah, I've been hearing about this Papados. Let's try it. But yeah, I'm still recovering from it. Like my uncle, wanted me to go to the gun range with him yesterday. I'm like, there's no way I
Wow.
I can I could have done it. Like my body just hurts. So I'm proud of you for getting to the place that you are and taking those leaps of faith and just going with it. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I feel like I have to take advantage of the time that I have. I do. One of my nightmares is this invisible clock of ableness. And it keeps me up at night, and I'm, of course, in therapy about it and all of that, but it really, really, it's a different space to be in, knowing that at any time your life could drastically change. And so I'm just trying to take advantage of my every moment I have. This is my big chance, like my big opportunity to do right. And so, but it is stressful, and it is not without incident. And things like going to the beach. I took a coast trip in California, and I could not get to any of the beaches.
Oh, that's my
I
big
was on a rollator, and you can't get the rollator through the sand,
right.
and there's rocks and all of those things. I went to a comedy show and had to go in through the kitchen because I couldn't get in through the front door with my rollator. There are, and I know people that don't use it think that there are, but there are not enough wheelchair accessible parking spots
No,
in
oh,
spaces.
at all. It pisses me off because it's
Yes.
like some of the people that you actually see come out, I'm like, you could have walked.
Mia, you can't say that.
Yes, they're walking. I
I walk.
No,
I
but they're
walk.
they're literally walking, and I know the whole invisible illness thing.
Mia, you can't say that.
I have no filter. But
But here's the deal.
you know what? If they really have a disability that warrants them for being in a handicapped spot, I'm all for it. But if I see your ass skipping and hopping along to where the hell you're going, you don't need to be in a disability spot.
Mia.
I know. I don't have no filter. That's how I
Well,
feel.
let me say, as a disabled person that is more, I guess, visibly able than what the label would require me to be.
Right.
There are times that I could run to the door at the grocery store. And there are some times when I walk to the grocery store and getting to the door, and I'm just like, oh my God, my legs are numbing out, right? And
Mhm.
so I just really feel like that brings up a great point, because even in my space, I was with some people from the MS community during Christmas time, and one of the older Black women, she was like, "What are you doing here? You're too young to be here, and there's no way, you have MS." And I'm like, "There is a way I have MS." So
Yeah.
it's weird that to be in the community, but be too well to be in the community. Like, it's a weird dynamic, and I'm just like, "What are you talking about? I couldn't walk just 2 years ago. Like, what? I mean, like, it is what it is, but it's a weird space to be in. But I am a what you would call a walking MSer. And I keep my rollator in the car. There are times I had to pull over the other day because I had to, stop driving because my legs numbed out. But
Didn't we talk about this last year?
we did.
Did you talk to the doctor about
I
that?
did, and I got through that, and so we're just gonna keep on going because I am gonna drive as long as I can. So,
No,
um,
you can. Did you check with your doctor about the hand controls?
yeah, I'm not that disabled yet. I'm not disabled enough for that yet.
Uh,
That's part of that, right? That's that part of that thing, and like I don't want to be, So I'm trying to write it out as long as I can, but it's a weird space to be in. This able disabled is it's a weird space to be in, but I
yeah.
am a walker, Mia, and you may see me walking from the spot to the door and you're just like, this girl, what is she doing? Yep, I'm one of those people, and I'll proudly walk to and proudly walk back.
I can't even say anything. Before I knew what my diagnosis was, I did the same thing. But it's just frustrating when
There's
you,
only 3
like,
spots.
especially at hospitals. If I'm going to the hospital, why do you only have like 10 handicap spots? It's the hospital.
Yeah,
There's a lot of handicap, it's
yeah,
like,
that's true.
yeah. So
That's
look,
true.
God is still working on me. He's still working on me. So it's,
Y'all pray for Mia.
I know. But anyway, so we have like 2.5 minutes before it cuts us off here. And I want to make sure you get in everything that you wanted to bring up and talk about this month and this year, because this is the year that we are going to bring more Black people awareness to this disease. So yeah.
This is my February 19th will be my 4-year anniversary of diagnosis. And I was like, I want to do a photo shoot, but I talked myself out of it. Well, I'm back on it, but I'm like, well, wait till year 5. But I don't want to wait. And I want to be able to be in charge of my days and be in charge of how I feel. And I'm just trying to think differently about how I approach this thing with life with MS. And so if it's one thing that I'm going to focus on this year is not waiting and not waiting on wearing a special outfit for a special day, not waiting on a special moment to be special. No, I'm going to expect great things out of every day. And so if there's one message that I would like to share with the MS community, it's just don't wait. Make every day as special as you can, even if it means, you're in bed for the day. Just try and find something that brings you positivity and peace. And I think it'll help us on the journey. So still
Amen.
have my bad days, but I'm trying to focus on embracing some good.
Amen. And I think that's a great message to in life for people that have MS and people that don't. And life is short and we're only given one life. And so we have to take every day and appreciate it as if it was our last. So I want to thank you, Nicole, for taking time out on your Sunday to talk to me. It's
Thanks
always
for
been a
having me.
pleasure. I love catching up with you.
Let's not wait so long. Let's connect in a couple months.
Oh, okay. Let's put a date on the calendar because
Yes.
my app will forget.
Thanks, Mia.
Thank you, Nicole. So good talking to you
Have a great day.
too.